Hi, my name is Matt Golofchinsky. I'm the technical writer for What Digital Camera, and today we're going to be looking at 4 Superzoom bridge cameras. If you're not familiar with a bridge camera, these are generally high-end compacts that sit in between compacts and digital single-lens reflex cameras, or DSLRs. They offer a lot of features from DSLRs, such as manual focus and exposure options, and also feature quite expansive zoom ranges from around wide-angle 28mm up to around 500 or so. First up, we've got the Nikon P80. The camera's got a 10.1 megapixel sensor and an 18 times optical zoom, and around the back it's got a 2.7 inch LCD screen. In terms of features, the Nikon offers quite a lot. It's got an impressive sensitivity range which stretches all the way to ISO 6400. It doesn't have a RAW mode, so you can only shoot in JPEG, but it has a range of other nifty features, such as a distortion correction, which corrects for aberrations when shooting wide-angle landscape or architecture shots, for example. In terms of handling, the camera is really nice to use and it feels quite solid. It's also nice that there's a command dial on the back which allows you to change aperture settings and such. The zoom lens is impressive, but the control can be a little bit too eager, meaning that you sometimes need to quickly nudge it back out if you've overstepped the mark a bit. To match the impressive zoom lens, we've got Nikon's vibration reduction technology included. Unlike with its lenses though, the vibration reduction technology is sensor based, meaning that the sensor shifts itself to counteract camera shake. Colour is generally good from the images of the P80, but unfortunately the lens produces several instances of fringing in high contrast conditions. Exposures are accurate though, and noise is generally well controlled, but after about ISO 400 you can see the noise reduction system working and softening the images. Overall, this camera gets 86%. Next up, we have the Olympus SP570UZ. At the moment, it's got the joint longest optical zoom of 20 times, which stretches from 26mm to 520. You can see there's quite a nice, large and comfortable rubber zoom ring around the front. One of the nifty features of the camera is that you can also set this to manually focus if you wish. As with the Nikon P80, the Olympus also sports a 10 megapixel sensor and a 2.7 inch LCD screen, which you can see on the back here. It also has an electronic viewfinder, but the difference between the two models, the main difference, is that the camera can also shoot RAW together with JPEGs. In terms of image processing, we see the same TruePic 3 processor that Olympus has included in its 4/3 range of DSLRs. This allows the camera to fire up to 13.5 frames per second if you want to do particularly high speed shooting, although this does come at a reduced resolution. In terms of handling, the camera's built really well. It's very comfortable to use, you've got a nice large grip, and you've got a lot of room around the back for a thumb rest as well. It feels very solid, and having such a large zoom ring is a really nice touch too. In terms of image quality, colour's generally good, if a little muted compared with the other 3 models. Noise is quite well controlled up to about ISO 200, but from about ISO 400 it generally gets worse. At the telephoto end of the zoom, the focusing and the image stabilisation system has also tended to struggle a bit, producing several out of focus shots. But having said that, it generally puts in a reasonable performance. Overall, this camera gets 82%. Next up, we've got the Sony A850, also a 10 megapixel camera. This one's only got 15 times optical zoom, which goes from 31 to 456mm, but its crowning glory is in its 3-inch LCD screen, which comes away from the camera and adjusted around an angle like so. As well as the manual controls that the camera offers, such as aperture priority and manual, you've also got things like face detection and also smile detection, which looks at the corners of someone's mouth and fires the shutter as soon as they smile. In terms of metering, the camera supports a 49-zone metering system and also a 9-point autofocus system, which is quite good for a model like this. So feature-wise, the camera scores points and it handles quite nicely too. Unfortunately, it's a little bit fiddly to operate. There are 4 separate steps, for instance, if you just want to change the aperture. The Sony A850 produces decent results after you've set it up. Colours and exposures are generally pretty good, and the dynamic range optimizer makes a very good job of evening out contrast in more extreme conditions. There's some slight but noticeable fringing when images are viewed at 100% though, especially at the edges of the image, but central sharpness is generally quite good. Noise is also okay at lower ISO settings, but by around ISO 200 images do look a little bit gritty. Overall, the Sony gets 84%. Last but not least, we've got the Panasonic FZ28. It's a minor upgrade to last year's FZ18 model, with the main addition being continuous autofocus tracking. Like the other models, it also has a 10 megapixel sensor, and it has an 18 times optical zoom. It stretches from 27mm all the way up to 486mm, and this has been coupled with Panasonic's Mega OIS image stabilisation technology. In line with Panasonic's recent compact releases, the camera has a Venus 4 processing engine. This allows it to shoot up to 13 frames a second when shooting at a reduced resolution, and also gives it a sensitivity range of 100 to 1600, which can be expanded to 6400 in the high sensitivity shooting mode. As with the Olympus model, the camera can shoot both RAW and JPEG images, as well as just JPEGs alone. The camera also features quite a comprehensive selection of focusing modes. You've got the single point option, as well as multi-point, continuous autofocus tracking, and also face detection, meaning you're going to have a mode for every situation. In terms of handling, the camera feels a little bit plasticky compared to the others. It doesn't quite feel as refined. It's a bit unfortunate because it's actually the most expensive camera on test at around £330. Images captured on even the lowest sensitivity in good light have a slight texture to them, and while high ISO images are noisy too, it's more the effects of noise reduction that seem to mar them. Exposures are generally good though, but a good dose of green and purple fringing can also be seen through images. Impressively, the lens doesn't have a lot of distortion at the wide angle end, and it only creeps in if you're shooting particularly close up. The camera is capable of really nice images, and it's got plenty of features. Unfortunately, it's a little bit expensive and it isn't really built fantastically. Overall, we give it 86%. Overall, we can see that all four cameras both have their good and their bad points, but it's the Nikon P80 and the Panasonic FZ28 that end up as joint winners. There's about £100 difference in between the two though, so the Nikon is a better value choice, but the Panasonic just scrapes above with the best image quality.